Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Movie Back series. My name is Della, also known as Natural Ghana Girl, and today I'm here to interview Marvin about his journey in Ghana and all the things he's been up to, the highs, lows, everything. And I'm going to let you guys know all about his business because I'm getting straight in there. I want to know everying.
And I got you. What you want to know? I'm bearing my soul. I'm bearing my solo.
I love it. I love it.
Yes.
Are you Ghanaian?
No, I'm not Ghanaian. No, yes, I'm Ghanaian.
Okay.
I'm African.
Okay.
So I was born in Guyana, South America.
Yeah.
And what I realized when I got here, the company that brought me here, they started telling me one day they just heard my accent. I was talking to a family member and they heard me talking in patois. So they said, Marvin, where you from? I said, man, I'm born in Guyana. So they said, oh, you know a lot of Guyanese live here. And they started mentioning some influential Guyanese that lived in Ghana. So I started doing my research and I decided to do my African ancestry 21andMe. And I found out that, you know, our ancestry, our lineage derives from Anomabo. So I'm Fanti, right? But not me, but my great.
Okay.
The slaves that they took from here.
The line is there, yeah.
So, you know, I can't remember the exact percentage, but they trace our bloodline back to, you know, Anomabo area.
Wow.
Yeah.
So is that what made you decide to move to Ghana?
Nope.
Okay.
I really wasn't even thinking about coming to Africa.
Oh,
Ghana,
really?
South Africa, nowhere.
Had you been to Africa at all before?
No, I hadn't been. But what happened was I just got fed up with America. I had a contract with a company in America called Amazon.
Okay.
And they just basically defrauded me and copied my business model and cost me a lot of money. And one of my operations managers that I hired said, Marvin, listen, you can't be depressed. You got to get up, dust yourself off. But look, I've been going to Africa. Your technology that you have with your company will do well in Africa. You need to go there. And I was like, yo, man, I don't know nobody in Africa. I'm not going to Africa. I said, oh, you coming with me? No. I said, well, why the hell am I going? So he was like, nah, you really need to go. So he connected me with a lawyer, a young guy he knew here.
Yeah.
I think when he was coming, he told me he would come to these business seminars. He knew about Zoom Lion. He told me about all these companies before I came here.
Yeah.
Ghana Post. So I trusted him and I came. And that's how I got here. And when I first got off the plane, I saw, the thing that stood out to me the most was the Marriott Hotel. I was like, yo, hold up. In my mind, I'm thinking I'm going to see Shaka Zulu, Spears, you know. And I hate to say that I was that ignorant, but we believe what we're programmed to in America. But then I saw this dope restaurant plane outside, and it was dope to me that they bought a plane and turned it into a restaurant and people could come and dine inside the plane. And then the second thing that I felt was anger. I said, yo, we've been lied to like a son of a... And I started playing things back and I realized that 85% of the plane was white people. And I said, if Africa's so bad, why are these white people coming here?
What did it tell you? Yep.
And so I got off the plane and I started, you know, traveling around, visiting. And the thing that made me say, I'm not leaving Ghana. You know, growing up in Guyana, I used to sell plantain chips with my grandmother and my dad when I was young. I remember sealing the sandwich bag and running it past the candle, putting the salt in it. And I saw that and I said, oh, wow. So a lot of the things in Ghana are similar to what the culture in Guyana. And then that's when I learned that, you know, yo, it's because you from here. Like, this is the source.
Yeah.
And I just said, I'm never leaving.
So what other things are similar in terms of the food? All
right, so we got saril. Y'all call it sobolo.
Yeah.
We got bakes. Y'all call it bow float. Right? Contumre, I love the contumre. And I remember my mom, she used to make kalaloo. So it looks the same. So a lot of those things are really similar and it was nostalgic for me.
Yeah.
And I felt, it took me back to my childhood when I was the most happiest. And I said, yo, I'm staying here.
Hold on, you just made this decision like that, I'm just staying here.
Yeah.
What?
Listen, I came here October of 2018. I went back to the US, and because of the stuff that I did, the groundwork that I laid, I got calls from companies to come back and sign contracts in December of 2018. I came, they had a car pick me up at the airport. I mean, they laid out the red carpet.
Posh lad.
They was wooing me though. I ain't see all the other stuff, but it was great. And then I moved back February of 2019. So within like a 90-day period, I was living in Ghana full time. Yep. And I only went back to America one time for the African Health Summit 2 years ago. And I haven't been back since. And I don't want to go back. I'm not coming back. Don't call me. Don't ask me if I'm coming. Ghana is my home.
Give me that passport. I'm going to hold on to you.
I'm giving it to you.
Oh, wow. That's really amazing. So tell me, so since you've been back, have you just been like on a high ever since? Has it just been like that? Has it remained
No. You change one set of problems for another set. But you also change one set of virtues for another set, right? So here in Ghana, people are not always the best with keeping time. Here in Ghana, the infrastructure and the system is not the best. But Ghana is only 67 years old, 65 or something like that. America is 400, 500 years old, whatever, right? So it's like comparing a 45-year-old to a 16-year-old, right? And somebody had to put that in perspective to me. So some of the challenges that I have here, when I compare it to the challenges and the strife that I had in America, it's worth it to be here. I don't have the anxiety that I had when the police pulled me over in America, right? Like when I see them berries going in America, like I get the bubble guts. Here in Ghana, I just go in my wallet, take 10, 20 CDs. Charlie, what's going on, boss? You know, and not that I should be doing that, but I remember I would pull up to like these checkpoints all the time. I'm like, yo, why are these damn checkpoints? But that's why Ghana is one of the safest countries. And these officers be out there in the sun and the heat. So if I could buy them some water or something to help make their job easy, I do that. Not that I'm supporting, you know, the chopping, but these people are making Ghana safe. It's one of the safest countries in Africa. So if I can contribute to help keeping it safe by making sure that they quench their thirst, that's what I do. Quench their thirst. You know?
Okay. So one of the biggest things that people want to know about trying to move to Ghana or another African country is, how do you sustain yourself financially? So how have you been able to do that?
So it's not easy. It was rough when I first came here because the company that I came with, I signed a contract with them. It was supposed to be for millions of dollars.
Okay.
I came here, I was like, you know, and I had a solution that they needed. When I came to Ghana, I was told that in the country at the time, there was only 16 working ambulance. The president since has bought 321. Shout out to that, improving healthcare and access for the people. But when I came, there was only 16 working ambulances at National Ambulance Service. So I bought my platform, Daycare Health and Transport, for this organization. And we were creating jobs for all of their church members so that they could work on our platform, provide medical transport. We were training them in first aid, CPR, and it didn't work out. For whatever reason it didn't, you know, I was told a number of reasons why it didn't work out. I didn't pay the right people, you got to chop. But I didn't want to come here like an arrogant American offering people money like I thought less of them. But it didn't work out, unfortunately. And it was tough. I mean, they paid me some money because the contract didn't work out. I ended up staying in a hotel. I bought a car, and that money ran out eventually. Because here in Ghana, when you come here, people, let me tell you, you don't just pay 1 month rent, 1 month security like you do in the States. You got to pay a year or 2 years in advance.
Tell them.
So if you come here with $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000, it is immediately cut in half. And then you got to pay for food. So I ran out of money. And for a while, I was sleeping in my ambulance. Yeah, for a few days. And one of my guys, Mike Asaki, he introduced me to his cousin, and she had her own place. And because of the culture, she's like, oh, I can't let this old brony stay in my house. And I said, listen, it's hot in this ambulance at night. So my family in the U.S. used to send me $100 a month. At the time, the conversion rate was 560 CDs to $1. I remember because I would give her 300 CDs towards the rent, and then I would pay 50 CDs to 100 CDs to airtime so I could be able to call back. And I did that for like a year and a half. But what I love about Ghana, in the yard we had a pawpaw tree, we had an avocado tree, right? So the money I paid her, she would buy like rice and stuff and cook and stuff for me, but I would always have access to food. So I didn't need a lot of money to live.
So you as a foreigner, let's say that,
Yeah.
was living on 560 cities a month.
Yes, because when I moved here, I didn't have much money. The last money I did, I spent it on a bunch of ambulances for this company. And then when the deal didn't work out, they sold my ambulance because they sat at the port too long. But I was determined, and I was determined because they kept telling me, oh, Brony, you will leave. Everybody that comes, if it doesn't, they're not familiar, they leave after a while. And for me, it's like, I couldn't let them beat me. Like, it's like they wanted me to leave. So I said, no, I'm gonna stay. But, you know, I weathered the storm, and you don't need a lot to live in Ghana.
No, but did you feel at the time, because obviously that must have been a bit of a dark moment for you, did you feel like, what am I gonna do now? Like, how much longer can I sustain this?
I did. I was, listen, as a grown man, I used to get worried. I was fearful. But COVID-19 happened, and that was good for me and my business because I'm in the healthcare, medical staffing, and transport. So fortunately for me, because I did this for 14 years in America, a lot of the companies I work with started calling me and saying, Marvin, you know, we need your platform so that we could do this social distancing. We need to do deliveries of packages, medication for people who needed it. And, you know, a lot of facilities was experiencing a lot of deaths, a lot of depression, and shortage of staff because healthcare workers were, you know, they were overworked. So because my platform, they could go to our app and find healthcare workers on the dime, companies started calling me and saying we need it. And it helped me because now I'm getting US dollars while I'm living in Ghana. And that really turned it around for me. So shout out to COVID.
Wow, that's really deep, you know, because literally you were right there at a point where anybody would have sympathized with you and said, okay, yeah, go back, quit. But you didn't. You pushed through, and look at what happened.
Yeah, well, I didn't want to push that narrative. See, when you come to Africa, people expect you to come back with your tail between your legs. And I was not going to let that happen, right? Because it just further cements the narrative that we've been programmed to think. So I had to figure out a way, how can I make USD while living in Ghana with GHC? You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what I did. So that's what my business does now. I license my technology in the US since I live here. So right now I got about like 7 licensees, and all it's basically like a franchise. So for you to use my daycare brand and use my technology, I license it in a different US city or state.
So tell me a little bit more about what it is that your app does.
Okay.
What is it?
So Daycare Health and Transport is a medical ride share and on-demand staffing platform. So what that means is, when you think of Uber, Bolt, or Yango that they have here, in the US we have Uber and Lyft. So our platform works just like that. But unlike Uber and Lyft and Bolt and Yango, we only hire nurses, CNAs, LPNs, RN, midwives, right? And now you could use our app and request for them to come and provide services on demand, meaning when you need it. When they come, in our cars, we have a wheelchair. We have a basic life support kit. So if you have a wound, non-emergency situations, our nurses, because they have a healthcare background, they could treat you. So it's like a taxi ambulance. Here in Ghana, like I mentioned, they only had 16 ambulances. So when people here have a medical emergency, what they do is they jump in a taxi or a private car, put on their hazards and hoping that people let them by. Well, what we do is we employ the unemployed nurses or the underemployed and say, listen, there's people in your community that need your help. Register on our app, and when they need it, just like they get an Uber, they can get a nurse to come and do home care. They can get a doctor to do consultation that will come and talk to them and explain what they're experiencing. And what that does is, these hospitals that are choked with people in the queue, it eases up that pressure because not everybody has an emergency. It can be addressed through telehealth, through our, a video conference or whatnot. So that's what we do. We help people connect to medical professionals through our app.
So do those people have to be transported? So do they actually turn up in a car?
So
do you
yes.
provide cars and stuff like that? How does it work?
Well, here in Ghana, because you don't have a credit system, so people can't go to the bank and get a loan, we do what's called work and pay. So my company buys vehicles, and then our nurses could use it to drive. Or we hire Uber drivers or professional drivers, and we train them to become a certified transport specialist. So we teach them the basic first aid, CPR, how to lift patients, so that if a nurse doesn't drive, they could go inside the home with a nurse and lift the patient, help them transport them to the hospital. Yeah.
That's amazing.
And then for the nurses, and you know, in Ghana, most people don't drive, they drive trotro. So we're also training nurses how to drive and giving them a vehicle so that they could now transport patients to and from their medical appointments and go to their home and provide home care. But in the US, every nurse has a car, every CNA, LPN. So the models are different just based on the territory. So that's how it works.
So your app works in different countries?
Yes. Listen, what I love about our app technology and the fact that it's a global economy, I'm here in the US. 65% of family members become forced caregivers as our loved ones age. I'm here in Ghana. Let's just say my mom lives in New York. I could go in my app right now and type in New York and see all of the nurses in New York around her. If I put in her zip code. And I could, from Ghana, send a nurse to my mom's house. But in reverse, if a Ghanaian is in the US and they have a loved one here, they could use our app and type in, you know, East Legon, you know, Cape Coast. And they will see all of our healthcare workers that are registered, doctors and nurses, and they can now request them from the US, pay with their debit or credit card, but make sure that their family members have access to healthcare.
Wow. So I take it you're not sleeping in the ambulance anymore?
No. Life is good now.
You've upgraded your lifestyle.
No. I'm living in East Legon now.
So tell me, right, because you mentioned something to me earlier. You said you got married.
Yeah. Oh, the whole thing.
Tell me about that.
So when I first came here, you know, Ghana is a very unique place.
Okay.
And I used to go to this Kazumba class, right? Kazalsa. Shout out to Kazalsa. I would go to this class in, what is this? It's in like Adenta area. And I would go there and I would learn Kazumba while COVID was happening. I said, I got to get out the house. All of this social distancing. And I met this young lady there, and you know, we would dance together. It wasn't nothing at first. And I just got to know her. And so I said, hey, can we practice together? So that she came with
Where were you practicing?
Baby, I love you. Yeah, I gotta tell the story though. So we were practicing, and then we just, you know, it formed into something. And she got married, so then I had to go knock.
Did you have to do it?
I went and knocked. I said, hey, listen, I just want you to know that she's not dating just any old person, because she was a really a quality woman, I could tell. So I didn't want her family to think that she was just out here getting pregnant by anybody. So I went and knocked, and I told her, listen, you know, she's pregnant, you know, I want to do the right thing. What do I need to do? So they told me what I needed to buy, you know, the dowry. I provided all those things, and I wanted her to maintain the respect and dignity that she deserved. And it's been the best thing. She's a great woman. And I'm just telling you honestly, I never wanted to get married again based on my experience in the States. But I love me some African women. They're different. They're submissive, and not submissive in a sense that they're less than you or you tell them, but they're supportive. That's what submissive means to me, supportive. And it's been like that. I mean, she gave me my first 100% African baby, so now I'm turning it around. I brought it back from Guyana to Africa. So now the bloodline is gonna be 100% African. But another benefit that came from that is her family is top CID members. And people used to call CID on me, try to extort me because they knew people. And when you new here, they don't expect you to know. So now when people try to chop money from me, I just say, oh, call this person. And then when they realize they CID, they don't mess with me. So some extra benefits that came with my wife. But I love her. She's a sweet woman, and you know, she gave me a beautiful child, you know, and I love here women want you to be a part of the relationship, right? They're not taking the kids from you, and I just love that.
So I'm going to ask you something a little bit personal now. So when you had to do the dowry, how much would you say roughly the whole thing cost you? It wasn't 560 CEDIS, was it?
No. See, it just depends on what, you know, the family wants. And what they requested for her, I thought that it was well worth it, right? The father said to me something that was true. He said, Marvin, listen, I don't even let my wife manage the money. Poma does it. That's my wife's name. Her name is Poma. She's a Khan. And he said, I let Poma do it. She was taking care of the household. She would cook. She would clean. She would do all the things that a man needs as a support system. So when they told me what the dowry was, I was more than happy to pay it. Because you got to remember, you're taking this person from that household that makes their household stable. Yeah. So you got to compensate. So I think I paid a certain amount to the father, a certain amount to the mother, and then I also paid a certain amount to the oldest brother. Okay. And then I bought some items for her. I think I had to buy a certain number of bras, panties, and a suitcase, and I think there was some other things, but that's what I can remember right now. But I had seen someone else do it prior to me, so I knew what was expected, and it was cool. It was just, and then I wore my little. I'm gonna send you some pictures so you can put it in there. I wore my African outfit, and I felt like regal. I felt like a king, and she treats me like a king every day, so I love it.
Oh, that's so nice.
I love my Poma. Yes.
So you be eating fufu, banku, all of the local foods?
You know, fufu is not my thing, but I eat, I like banku and tilapia. Omutio is my favorite. Oh, yeah. So I eat the omutio with the ground nut soup and so forth.
I love it too.
That's my thing. Yeah.
So do you eat like on the roadside and stuff like that?
Nah, that I don't do. I used to because I didn't want to seem like one of those Americans that thought they were too good. Yeah. But one time I bought the bull float, and I opened it up, I was biting into it, and then I just looked down and I saw a bunch of, the flour mites. Oh, yeah. And I was like, so I don't do it no more.
Yeah. But that's very common here. In fact, it's common in all flour, like you get
I know, but the fact that I was eating bugs wasn't.
I know. Do you know, I actually did a video on it some years ago because I didn't know when I came to Ghana, right, that even rice can have bugs in it. So one day I was in Ghana and I was cooking my food and I was boiling the rice and I thought, oh, they put seasoning in it. And then I looked a little bit closer and I realized it was weevils. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
If you know my personality, right, I was like, oh my gosh, take me to the hospital. But yeah, that's good. It's good that you're trying stuff, Is there any food that you say that you particularly dislike? I know you mentioned fufu, you're not a fan of it.
No, it's not that I don't like it. Fufu just seems too starchy for me. Right? But I prefer banku. There's nothing that I really...
You had it with okra soup.
Oh, okra soup with tilapia and so, yeah, I do like the okra soup.
Yeah. Use your hands.
Oh, I eat with my hands.
Hey, they're all fully fledged.
When I was small, my mom used to do it when we moved to America, so it didn't seem like out of the ordinary for me. So, of course, I just wash my hands good, but I do that. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Okay. So if people want to look a bit more into your app and stuff like that, what do they do? How do they find you?
So they could visit daycaretransport.com. You can go to the app store, whether it's Google or iOS, and download the daycare app. You would download, if you're using the app, the user app for people who want to request services. And then if you're a medical doctor or a nurse and they want to register, they would download the service provider app. And then in each market that we operate, we have territory partners. So my company is out of the US and I license territory. So my wife and Dr. Abdullah Abbas, is the territory license for Ghana. Okay. I just help them administer the services throughout Ghana. Right. And we have partnerships in Senegal, Kenya, and we're launching in those markets. But they just go to the app store, download the app, and they look on it and they can see services in each of the territories.
Awesome. I love what you're doing. I think it's definitely something that's very, very important here.
Yeah. So. Well, for me, one of the reasons I was hesitant to move to Africa is the healthcare. We hear that the healthcare is not. Yeah. So I wanted to make sure that anyone moving from the diaspora that wanted to relocate like me knew what services were there. Yeah. So I also created a show because there's an educational component that goes to it. People need to know what services are available. So I just started my show, My International Life. but it's
On
specifically on YouTube and national television
okay.
in Ghana. Because we need to educate the public how to use the app, who our providers are, and what services they can get.
Yeah.
So, you know, we want to let people know that, you know, you don't have to worry about if you get sick and after there's not medical services to you. And, you know, that's what we're doing and providing to them.
I love it. I love it so much.
So if you get sick, we got you. We're going to take care of you. Dr. Encobia at the Benoit Hospital, you know, Maritime International Hospital, some of our partners. And we transport patients to and from. We provide home care services. We deliver medications to you. I mean, it's consolidated services, everything healthcare, so that you could get pharmacy, lab, delivery, you know, and all of these things brought to you. And some of our corporate partners, you'll be seeing it on our show.
Awesome. Yeah. Looking forward to it. So what are we eating today?
Today, whatever you want to eat, let's chop. Hey, we're going to chop.
We're going to chop, guys.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming on today and speaking to me. You've been amazing to interview. I love it. Really,
and listen,
really good.
I want to thank you for having me because I go to your channel and I'm watching your stuff all the time, right? I even interviewed some of you. No, you have very valuable content from where to buy a home, what people are doing from the diaspora. So it's a great educational tool for me. So I'm flattered that when I got the call, you know, you wanted to interview me. I said, what? Oh, I'm there. What time and where I need to be. So thank you as well.
Thank you so much. So guys, that is the end of today's video. I really hope you've enjoyed it. Please do go ahead, take a look at Marvin's app, check out his channel as well. There's a lot of information there that we've given today, so I really want you guys to get the benefit out of it. It's definitely worthwhile. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please, I would love it so much if you'd do me a favor, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Don't forget to also like, comment and share this video. And also, if you have an amazing story to tell, please do send me an email. Again, same email address, naturalghanagirl@gmail.com, and we can talk from there. Until next time, I am out. Nitty Papa.